was w takim odcinku
Marauder, please be
Dead
informed that
World.
ignoring me is dangerous for your health.
Nie wiem jak się to czyta.
Please be informed that
Oh,
this
yes.
vessel contains no valuable plunder.
Ja chyba...
Intruders are not authorized to access the Unreliable's amenities, including the car.
Dobrze.
Marauder, please be informed that ignoring me is dangerous for your health.
Dobra, już.
Unauthorized access of spacefaring vessels is a crime. Please submit yourself to the authorities. Hello, Marauder. I am Ada, the autonomous digital astrogator of this vessel. Please be informed that I am authorized to use violent retribution against unwanted solicitors. Please return any misappropriated equipment and exit this vessel in an orderly fashion. Failure to do so will result in your immediate destruction.
Tak.
I detect an elevated heart rate, indicating dishonesty. Please prepare yourself for lethal deterrence. Gesture procedures initiated. Disengaging airlocks. Preparing to eject all boarding parties in 5, 4, 3,
Tak.
2, 1. You are still here. My deception protocols have failed. I have been programmed to express disappointment. This vessel is the registered property of Captain Alex Hawthorne. I am incapable of accepting orders from anyone other than Captain Alex Hawthorne.
A on nie żyje.
I understand. I will require some time to process this information. Thank you for your patience and for your honesty. I am programmed to take orders exclusively from Captain Hawthorne. If I accept your orders, then you must be Captain Hawthorne. Do you understand? Well done, Captain Hawthorne. I see your powers of deductive reasoning remain intact. Unfortunately, our engine is currently inoperable. Our main drive suffered a critical power failure, and we were forced to make an emergency landing.
Lądowanie
The main
fajne.
drive's power regulator has been irreparably damaged and must be replaced.
Ja muszę wymienić.
Astutely observed. However, the probability of locating a power regulator within a worker settlement falls within acceptable parameters of certainty. High-capacity power regulators are sometimes employed in the electrical networks of worker settlements. I have taken the liberty of printing you a new captain's identity cartridge. Please try not to lose it this time. This cartridge identifies you, Alex Hawthorne, as the registered proprietor and captain of the Unreliable. Do you understand? Best of luck in your search for a power regulator. Try to stay alive this time.
2 punkty umiejętności. Tak. Rozmowa, bo będzie dużo pewnie w rozmowie. Jednak walka wręcz to nie takie dobre. Broń dystansową. Pytanie się po co? Jakie punkty? Dobre. Zastosuj. Dobry. Atuty. Okej. poziom pierwszy, dwa. Ten. Tam. Życzę. Dawcy. Niech chodzenie będzie szybsze. Co? Co w obcym kraju? Jeszcze za wysokie ustawienie.
These surveillance devices allow me to monitor you constantly. Please ignore them.
Jak nie wiem o jakie chodzić. Dobra. Chyba mam obrzynę. Będzie dobrze. Wychodzimy.
Say, this wouldn't happen to be your ship, would it? Because you sure walked in it like it was your ship. And if this ship is yours, well, mister, you owe Spacer's Choice a hefty fine. Afraid we gotta dock your pay.
Jakiej pensji?
I'll waive your fee since you helped us with those marauders. If you're looking for work, talk to the constable down in Edgewater. She's got a bounty on marauders. Edgewater's not too far. Just follow the road east of here, over past the cemetery. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to inspect the crime scene before I make my report.
Dobra. Z tobą?
Marauders, deserters, illegal landing. What is this colony coming to?
Mam obrzynę, ale... Dobra, biegniemy. Do miasta iść. Miasto widać nawet stąd. Jakiś mieszkaniec zabity. Kolejny. Mieszkańców zabijaj. Był jeszcze chyba. Tak? Się zdawało. Gdzie ty jesteś? Wiem go. Pamiętasz?
Whoa, hey, where'd you come from? Don't go ambling out in those hills. That's marauder territory, friend.
No i co z tym?
Ain't safe out here. You'd best head into town. Avail yourself of Edgewater's high walls and low prices.
Niskie ceny, czyli poza miastem
Pleased to make your acquaintanceship. I'd shake your hand, but I've been hauling corpses. You don't want none of that on you. Name's Silas. Junior in humor for the town of Edgewater. We're all part of the Spacer's Choice family.
Dobra, on raczej nie będzie wiedział o inkubatorze. On tak...
Got a knack for being discreet like? There's money to be made, long as you keep your nose clean. Edgewater is a company town, board-owned and operated. That includes the cemetery. None of us own our grave sites, we rent them from the company. Renting means money. Money means paperwork. Paperwork means signatures. Some of our families become a mite delinquent in paying their dues, you see? Company policy. If it was up to me, I'd put the whole town 10 feet under, free of charge.
No, prawda.
4 workers still haven't paid up. Phyllis,
Już mamy
Conrad,
pierwsze
Ludwig,
zadanie.
and Martin Abernathy. He's a special case. You may want to twist his arm a little. Conrad's got a barbershop in town.
Pan
Phyllis works at the
fryzjerski,
cannery most hours. Abernathy,
konserw.
I ain't seen him in a few days. His domicile is near the cannery.
Dobra,
You'll find
wszędzie
him in
wejdę,
town.
to znajdę
All
go.
except Ludwig, that is. He's over by the landing pad.
Przy lądowisku. Okej. Dobra, już. Koniec spółki.
Huh? What?
Dobra, nic nie weszło. Jest wejście. Jak stąd, to mogę ukraść. A jest coś ciekawego w ogóle? Nie jest mi to potrzebne na razie. Będę kradł. Niepotrzebnie. Dobra. Nadbrzeże. Okej. To znajdziemy. Nadbrzeże 600 PD. Expo.
They start asking you for some medicine, come tell me. I'll send it.
Gdzie nie pójdę? Miejsce odkryję. To Expo jest. Dobra. Czyli tutaj muszę wejść. A nic ciekawego. No ja to idziemy.
The grease monkey, Argo?
I'm sorry.
Seems we've got a guest. Really now, Parvati, I do wish you'd spoken up. I do apologize. I was given no forewarning of your arrival, or I might have welcomed you at the gates myself. I'm Reed Thompson, Outpost Administrator. I cannot help but notice you are not in uniform. Shirt, pants, work boots, company-approved colors. The, honorable apparel of a loyal worker? Of course not. I don't have that kind of luck. Seems I allowed my excitement to run away with my wits. Been a few seasons since we've had a visitor pass through.
No to co?
Only regulator we got is hooked up to the town transformer. Mr. Thompson ain't liable to be keen on dismantling it.
I beg your pardon. I am most emphatically not keen on any such thing. I can't let you have our power regulator. But I happen to know of another one. And I happen to know exactly how you may retrieve it without frying yourself in the process.
Yes.
There's a power regulator in the old botanical lab. It's mostly abandoned, so all that power is being squandered. Go down to the geothermal plant. Reroute power from the Botanical District over to us. Once their power's shut down, you can have their regulator and be along on your way.
Dobra.
I was not entirely sure how to tell you this. The botanical labs are not legally inhabited, but there are people who live there. The people living in the botanical labs, they're deserters, former workers. I need them back at their posts. I need them to come home.
Dobra.
My hope is that by cutting off their power, you will convince those deserters to come back to town. Before you go to the plant, I want you to stop by the botanical lab. Speak to their leader, Adelaide. Tell her the power's about to go, and that it's time her band of deserters came back to town.
Okej.
Adelaide's older than the other deserters. She's dignified, kindly. From what I understand, her camp looks to her for leadership.
Przywódczy. No, jak to będzie proste raczej.
That is not a hypothetical I enjoy entertaining. We need Adelaide back. Nonetheless, I will settle for the return of her followers. We belong to one community, the Spacer's Choice family. If we dissolve into factions, then we will all perish separately. Adelaide will understand that. Of course, I understand completely. Here, let me give you the passcode to the geothermal plant. A sign of good faith for so politely listening to me as I ramble on.
Are you setting off for the Vale? Because I know my way around. I mean, in case you want a guide. I mean, if that's all right with you, Mr. Thompson. Sir.
I hesitate to part ways with Miss Holcomb, but I cannot deny that she is talented and may prove useful to you.
Great! I got my wrenches and diagnosticators and hairpins and engine tape, so I'm all set.
Well, I am glad to hear that. Best of luck to you, and thank you again for your help. It is a lot to ask of a stranger, I know.
Na wyższych poziomach towarzysze od razu giną, więc nie wiem, czy to przydatne. Widziałem jednego.
We better clear out of Mr. Thompson's office before we talk.
To jest.
On my way.
Dobra. O. Chodź, idziemy. No chodź. Dobra.
We better clear out of Mr. Thompson's office before we talk.
Dobra. No jesteśmy w windzie, ale... Teraz?
We better clear out of Mr. Hey, mister, can we talk? Sorry. Can we talk? Sorry. You just want to get out of here. And you likely don't want to tag along like me. It's just... Mr. Thompson has his own view on matters, on account of it's his job and what all, but that's not the only side of the tale.
No.
To Mr. Thompson, a person's a gear. It does its job quiet-like. If it squeaks or stutters, it gets replaced. The deserters are decent folk. I knew some of them before they left. Miss McDevitt? Oh, gosh, no. She was a real important person. A flavorist. Made all the food taste decent. She used to work up in the big office with Mr. Thompson. All I know is she left after her son died. It was a real big to-do. I could hear them both yelling clear from my own place. Life's hard here. Especially for them that don't fit in so well. We're one big Spacer's Choice family, but every family's got the one the rest whisper about. Mr. Thompson's aiming to take away their power. They'll have no lights to see, nor heat to cook. They'll be at the mercy of marauders, or worse. I think you should talk to the town's vicar about it. Max, his name is. Thanks, mister. I just think when you gotta make a decision that'll hurt somebody, it's best to think on the right and wrong of it. That's what my dad used to say anyways.
Dobra, z pastorem. Pastor jest tam. Idziemy do pastora.
I'm sorry. I'll just be a minute.
I've always felt weird in here. It's too clean.
Yes, what is it? You're an outsider. Fantastic. Vicar Maximilian de Soto at your service. Or Vicar Max, if you're the sort who prefers brevity. And Ms. Holcomb as well. How rare to see you out. And with a complete stranger. Curious.
Just tagging along, Vicar DeSoto. Don't mind me.
I so rarely get new people to talk to. Name your poison, anything at all. Spiritual counseling? This season's tossball predictions? The quickest way out of town? Not to put too fine a point on it, but your choice of wardrobe is not precisely common hereabouts. Also, you lack the distinctive
Użyłem to, co było na ziemi.
usually either a deadening behind the eyes, or in some rare cases, a wild-eyed frenzy, like a trapped animal. Pretty universal here, except for Miss Holcomb, who, for some reason, doesn't seem to have much to say to me. Isn't that right?
It's just... there's more to it all than numbers. Sorry.
I'm simply bemoaning the level of spiritual awareness in this town. Yes, but there are few who hear me in this miserable place. I must double my efforts to elevate my flock. These are good, hard-working people here. Yes, and thank you for pointing it out. It is wrong of me to succumb to distress. This place could be so much more, and I will continue in my quest to make it so.
What? I thought you would talk to him.
You wanted to speak to me, Ms. Holcomb? Every time I've tried to engage you in conversation, you look at the floor, answer in single words, and slink away. I can't imagine what would be so grave as to drive her to my mission. What has Mr. Thompson asked you to do? Depriving them of safety from the marauders and wildlife. I can see why that troubles you. Miss Holcomb has a soft heart. Always has, if you believe the talk. Assuming your goal is to save as many as possible, then you should bring everyone together. Send the power to Edgewater and convince the deserters to return to the fold.
Tak.
If it were as easy as a few soothing words in the right ears, I'm sure it would have been done already. Consider it a challenge. If you don't mind a bit of unsolicited advice, be cautious on your way to the geothermal plant. It is not as safe as you might assume. The marauders I met when I ventured outside the walls might agree with you. bastard snuck up on me while I was dutifully hunting for a banned book in a collector's library. Barely escaped with my life. But you see, one of the reasons I transferred here was to get my hands on that heretical text. If you managed to acquire it for me, I'd pay quite a handsome sum for the book. I just want to keep the writing out of layman's hands. It wouldn't do for such information to fall into public consumption.
No tak, spalimy ją.
Glad we see eye to eye. It's a handwritten journal, a faded blue cover with the name M. Bakonu handwritten in the lower corner. I'll mark where I saw it on your map. Assuming you're serious? Thank you. If you retrieve it, you can always find me here.
Kolejne zadanie.
Yeah, huh?
Dobra, ja na razie kończę. 26 minut. Mieliśmy sobie.
Hey there, Mary. Don't see you round here too often.
Oh, I just came to talk to the vicar is all. None of us are above professionals.
What have you got to confess? You ain't.
Kończymy to raczej w kolejnym odcinku. Dobra, ja się z wami żegnam do następnego odcinka. Pa.